So hi everybody, it's Lori Zachary with LA Thrift Junkie. I hope you're having a good day today. And this is a hard video to make, but it is going to be something that I'm going to be moving forward with. And that is I am completely radically changing my business. So what does that mean for me? First of all, you guys see all this stuff behind me. Not the stuff on the racks, but there's like 5 bins of stuff behind me. Things that I have sourced over the last 4 years, like before I really knew what I was doing, or things I really thought would sell and they didn't. Also like getting thrown up boxes, liquidation boxes, trying every company I could get my hands on. And even though I would watch them on YouTube and be like, you know, like thrown up rescue boxes is like most of them are really not very good, right? But some people get great ones, so you always want to try and you always want to give it your best chance. And so I did. And honestly, I never really made a lot of money on any of those boxes. Not a single liquidation box other than bulk boxes, which is no longer available, did I ever really do well with. And that was Target liquidation. And I'd done well with that for a few years, and then all of a sudden I didn't. And maybe because it's a saturated market, maybe it's because people had to turn on Target because we were going through a pandemic and, you know, people wasn't able to get out and shop at Target. So perhaps I was buying my stuff for that reason. So I no longer sell liquidations or anything like that. I go out and source, and that is one of the things that I'm changing. First of all, I'm going to go to the bins more often. I'm going to go, and I'm not going to go for just a few hours like I normally do. I'm going to go for the full day. I'm going to commit to not picking up crap, not picking up little, you know, apartment 9 and just different things that I see that's super cute, unless it's like really special, like a long all-lace duster, a bohemian maxi dress, a Penny Lane jacket, right? Like those types of things, doesn't matter what brand they are, they're always going to sell. But not everything is that way. And I know that. I have learned so much over the last 5 years. So I am going to curtail my spending. First of all, that's the first radical thing. I'm not going to have a pile like this 2 years from now. This is all going to get auctioned off or donated. And I'm going to move forward with better brands, better mindset on how I spend my money. The second thing, which is kind of radical, just 6 months ago, I got an office, and I outgrew that office quite quickly. And so I got a bigger office, and it is wonderful. It's fantastic. I love having the space to spread out, right? I have a gigantic like walk-in closet. What girl wouldn't dream about that? But I'm spending $900 to $1,200 a month for this space. And I want to grow my business smarter. I want to spend my money smarter, and not that an office, warehouse, anything like that is a bad idea, because it's not, but it's a bad idea for me at this point. And the reason being is because where I live doesn't always have the greatest brands. You guys hear me saying that, but you also are seeing my hauls evolve with better brands, because I'm taking the time to go to several thrift stores and really looking, like I'm spending more time on sourcing when I didn't used to, because I really don't love the shopping part of it, because, you know, going through the racks, it wears, honestly, I have shoulder issues and neck issues, and it wears me out. So I'm going to be doing exercises and yoga to get that in play. However, that's not what this video is about. This video is about how am I going to change my business. So I just discussed the fact that I'm going to buy better brands. I'm going to spend more time sourcing. So if I spend more time sourcing, how can I make up that time? Because I'm disabled, you guys. I know that you probably don't see it. And people that have chronic illnesses, when they're feeling great, you're like, what's wrong with them, right? But I spend about half of my days not feeling great, not feeling like doing a darn thing. So I've got to budget my time as well as my money very well. So what I'm going to do is do a few things that I didn't think I was ever going to do. First of all, there's certain items I'm no longer going to measure. I know you're thinking, Lori, measuring doesn't take that long. Well, I timed it over a 1 month period and 20 minutes a day. So every 3 days, I'm spending an hour of my life measuring. So I'm still going to measure the important things, what I feel like is important to me. A blazer jacket, pants, like the waistline, things like that vary on size. And if somebody asks me for a size, I'm just going to open up the bag and measure it, whatever. It's going to be less time doing it that way because honestly, I rarely get asked for measurements. And when I do get asked for measurements, I'm like, it's in the photos, it's in my listing, so it is what it is. I'm also not going to take as many photos. I've learned doing Posh Lives, or not actually doing Posh Live shows, but doing the silent shows, as the pictures pop up on your screen, right? Like, so you can see the photo of the item that you're listing and it scrolls through your photos. And I've learned one thing. The pictures I'm taking, like close up of the slit on the skirt or the zipper on the back of the dress or whatever, like to show details, looks ridiculous. It doesn't look professional. It looks like 3 great photos and then like a handful of crappy photos. Just to be honest, like this is me talking about my own photos. So I am going to focus on doing 2 cover shots. I'm going to do the back, I'm going to do the front a couple times, I'm going to do a little bit by the side, I'm going to take close-up pictures of any flaws and any gorgeous details. And of course, I take a picture of my material tag and my brand tag with the size, right? That's not something I'm going to get rid of. I also take pictures of the weight and I take pictures of my SKU number so that it wouldn't get lost, right? Like when I very first started out, there were times where I couldn't find an item and it was stressful, especially on eBay. And not that Poshmark's my first love, but Poshmark was more forgiving, right? So let's be honest, it was more forgiving than what eBay is. eBay's like, ding, and they tell you all about it, right? And then you see your sales slow. So that's why I done that. Well, doing these auctions, I see that it just does not look professional. When I've got my SKU number kind of looking a little bit, I don't even want to say it. It just doesn't look very professional, right? So I'm going to still do those photos, but I'm going to make sure that SKU's in SKU, and then I'm going to erase those photos, and I'm going to put the weight of the item in so that I know what it is. And the reason I did that, and this is just another radical business change that I'm making, the reason I used to take pictures of my weight is because I cross-post to eBay and Mercari, and they require a weight. And instead of having to look on my phone and scroll through all those pictures, which my patience level is not very good with that stuff, I had it right there, right? Like it was imported into my listing, into Vendoo, and I could just look at that photograph and see what it weighed and plug it into eBay. That's fine. I will still do that. However, here's my next radical change. I'm getting rid of Vendoo, and here's why. And it's so hard. Oh my gosh, is it so hard? Because I love what Vendoo offers. But I've seen a big change since August. And this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, and some people's going to be very mad at me for saying this, because it's not just Vendoo. I belong to a group of thinkers, you guys, and it's every single one. Any company that cross-posts or delists and relists or does things for you, there is something that's happened on eBay even since August and Poshmark. I don't know. We're guessing, you guys. Please keep this in mind. This is just an opinion, just a total guess, that there's some kind of software that has been able to detect that we're using a third-party service. And I think a lot of it stems from, and I'm a little bit of the problem because I taught some of you how to do this, to delist and relist your items. The problem with that is I was just doing 10 or 20 a day. There's some people that's doing their full closets, and too many. And what you got to keep in mind with these companies is it's like a storage space, right? So let's look at Poshmark and eBay as a storage place. Sometimes that's what it feels like, right? But so we have 400 items in our closet, and they made space for 400 items, and they paid a server to advertise, to list, to do all the things for those 400 items. But then somebody goes and they delist and relist their whole closets for 800 items. Now eBay and Poshmark is paying server space for 800 items, but really you only have 400. So it's becoming unfair to the platforms, right? Because people are taking advantage of this tool. So there's a group of us and we made sure that all of us was in one of the delisting and relisting type tools. I happen to be in Vendoo. Okay, so this is not an attack against Vendoo, because if I had my choice among all of them, Vendoo is, to me, the best. I've also used List Perfectly on my clients' closets, and I really like List Perfectly as well. The other ones, for me, not so much. But there's something that's happened, and I've actually brought it to Vendoo's attention, and I'm sure that they are worried about it. I'm sure that they're going to work on it, but I have seen a huge decline in sales unless I'm doing lives on Poshmark, and a really big decline on eBay, which is unnatural. Like, as long as you're consistent on eBay, eBay is consistent for you, and it has not been. So I decided, at least for 1 month, the entire month of March, and I actually started this a week early, but March is going to be my definitely not touch any kind of third-party tool whatsoever on either eBay or on Poshmark. And I want to see how it does. But I can tell you this, for 1 week I've been listing directly to eBay and not cross-posting using Vendoo, and my sales are back up. Immediately within 48 hours, I started seeing sales pop in, more watchers, more, people, you can see your impressions on eBay. My impressions are up. All the things are up. So do I know for sure it's from not using Vendoo? No, it could just be a fluke. But I think over a 30-day period, I'm going to be able to see what is going on. The next step to that is, bad for me, because I have an iPhone that I bought that I hated, but I loved the camera, right? So I paid $1,600 for an iPhone to use it as a camera. I still use my Android. Well, I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet and get rid of my Android and make my iPhone my main phone. Okay, so I was using my Android and my iPhone on Poshmark. Not only that, I had a laptop. I was importing things in and delisting and relisting for Vendoo. So now I have my laptop, which is on my Wi-Fi at home. I have my iPhone, which connects to my mobile hotspot on my Android. I have my Android that has its own data, and then on top of that, I have my Office that has its own Comcast internet. So like, I'm on a lot of different IP addresses or a lot of different locations. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but I had somebody look into my closet, and I got to ask them a lot of questions, and they're in this industry, and they told me, by no shadow of a doubt, that is hurting my closet. First of all, I have a good friend, PFF Poshmark group, resellers. We have that group. Her name is Marilee, and she made a comment once that just made me start thinking. She said, when I leave my browser open at work, when I'm working on Poshmark at work, or wherever it was, I forget where it was. I think she's retired, but wherever it was, in an office of some sort. When she leaves her browser on, that she noticed that her activity on Poshmark goes down. I'm like, So that got me to thinking, and I actually have a contact in one of these platforms back in, okay? So they're a coder, and I talked to them. And I got to talk to them on the phone, and I talked to them for an hour. And this is what he told me. He said, Lori, yes, that is going to hurt, because you're going to look like a bot. It's going to look like suspicious behavior, a pattern that many platforms look for, because, drop shippers and people that scam and people that do those things kind of have the same, the same way of getting away with things, right? So I am literally just going to use, not only am I not going to use Vendoo, which breaks my heart, but I'm also just going to use my iPhone for everything. So I can do everything on my iPhone. I don't need to use anything else. Big sigh. No computers, no other internet services, nothing. The only time that I will be using my internet service, it's not my phone, which scares me just a little bit, because this is, I have to do it. That's just all there is to it. And that's when I'm doing live shows. So I hope that that's a whole lot of information, right? But there's even more. So I'm moving out of my office, you guys, and I'm moving everything back home. And I'm going to take that $900 to $1,200 a month I'm spending on this space. I'm going to downsize. I'm downsizing. I'm getting rid of 50% of my stuff. And I'm going to take a big hit on my income. But hopefully within 90 days, I'm going to have better items in my closet. I'm going to have a higher sell-through rate. I'm going to have a higher average sales price. And not only that, I'm going to take this time to start my bohemian clothing line. So it's a big endeavor, you guys. It's a big endeavor. And I'm not saying it's going to do wonderful, but I'm going to find joy in my life, right? And that's one of the ways that I can find joy. I enjoy creating. I sell clothes. I am going to create and sell my own clothes. So there you go, you guys. Stay tuned for more details. And you guys, all this stuff is going to be auctioned off for $5 each on Poshmark. I know those low starts kill me too, but come on, you guys. I mean, some of this stuff, this dress I've had for 4 years. If I can get $5 for it, $2.05 if they just buy one item, which rarely happens. Usually they buy several items when the price is that low. Then I'm getting more for it than what I would if I was going to donate it, right? So that's what I'm going to do. And I know it's unfavorable also, but if you do Posh Lives, whether you're doing a silent show or you're doing a live show, the Poshmark algorithm is favoring you. Every time I do a live show, I get more activity, I get more likes, I get sometimes I get full price purchases, I get offers, I get all those things that we really want, you know, in our life as a reseller, right? So that's my plan. Tell me you guys what you think. I don't mind if you have an opinion about Vendoo and all that. I am open to listen to anything anybody has to say, especially if this is your field of expertise, because I want to know. All right, you guys. Bye. See you next time.